Yo, what is up, everybody, and welcome back to another Madden 24 game. The Houston Texans and Indianapolis Colts just played a big game with everything on the line in Week 18, essentially a playoff game for the Texans and Colts, and the Texans came out on top. Houston is going to the playoffs. The Colts, their season is over, and what a game it was, especially in the fourth quarter. CJ Stroud saved his best for last, a number of big-time throws. And CJ Stroud's a rookie, but he did not play like a rookie all night long. Not really making many mistakes in the game, and his high points, man, they were high. He had that one throw to Nico Collins, second down and long, I believe it was. Collins made the diving grab, but the throw by Stroud, the ability to even get that pass off to make it an accurate pass was insane. He did a spin away from pressure, wasn't able to set his feet fully, made the throw nonetheless, and I mean, man, CJ Stroud was phenomenal. But I feel like we would be remiss to not talk immediately about the way the drive ended for the Indianapolis Colts, because that was a head-scratcher, to be straight up, the way the Colts managed that last drive. After the touchdown by Singletary to give them the lead, which ended up being a 6-point lead because of Fairbairn missing the PAT, I like what the Colts did as far as being able to pound the rock. That's what they want to do. They want to be able to pound the rock with Jonathan Taylor, with Zach Moss, and all that stuff. But, you know, after that third down run with Jonathan Taylor, the Colts burned the entire play clock on themselves, and essentially were just trying to draw the Texans off sides. They wanted to call a timeout and get into a big play, and then the big play ended up being to, their fifth string running back, whatever string running back Tyler Goodson is, for the season on the line. And it just felt a little Nathaniel Hackett type, right? Like Nathaniel Hackett, week 1 last year, Seahawks, Broncos. Hackett burned the clock on his own team and set up like a 60-yard field goal. And, I mean, it wasn't that bad, but it still, like, I understand the game of managing the clock, and, you know, you really want to make that the last drive of your Shane Steichen, but it just felt like you were overthinking the situation, because the first thing you got to do is worry about scoring, and, yeah, just that whole sequence, setting up the 4th down and 1, and I mean, look, at the end of the day, it probably should have been converted, right? Like, I don't want to be too critical about it, because it probably should have been converted, but, you know, the whole idea of subbing out the guy that you paid all this money, Jonathan Taylor, not even bringing Zach Moss in, you're bringing Tyler Goodson in with the season on the line. Yeah, it just leaves a salty taste in my mouth. But look, if it worked, we would call it really good coaching by Shane Steichen. He really understands the personnel of his team. He has full control of his 53-man roster, all the way down to this Tyler Goodson fella. But, I mean, you know, do you really want to put your season on the line with Tyler Goodson, right? 4th down and 1, do you really want to put your season on the line with Tyler Goodson? I don't know. But, I mean, otherwise, the Colts were putting together quite the drive, considering their offense was not that good. Like, they were not converting any third downs. I don't think they converted one third down the entire game. They might have went like 0 for 9 or 0 for 10 on third downs the entire game. And that final drive, they were getting just enough to keep it going. And, yeah, I mean, both teams in general really struggled in short down yardage. The Texans struggled, especially in the first half, to convert short down yardage situations. And, you know, after that big play by Nico Collins to start the game, the Texans did kind of fizzle out. And it felt like they were leaving the door open for Indianapolis to come back in. All you need is one play to get that home crowd in it. And the Colts got that in the third quarter. You got the big Jonathan Taylor run. And next thing you know, the crowd's back in the game. And you're thinking the Texans might tighten up. But, I mean, Stroud was, you know, after that first play, they kind of cooled off a bit, but Stroud definitely saved some of his best for the second half of the game, and we'll see the Texans in the playoffs, man. I mean, it's a phenomenal season by both teams, right? Like, for the Colts side, you know, they both have rookie head coaches. For the Colts, you bring Shane Steichen in. Frank Wright's act was pretty worn out in Indianapolis, and Shane Steichen brought a fresh breath there for sure. You know, that RPO game, being able to run the ball, you know, put the ball in Minshew's hands, let him make, you know, as many easy decisions as possible. That Colts offense was rolling all season long, man. Shane Steichen is definitely going to be a key part of Indianapolis for years to come, I feel like, man. I feel like that was a great hire, and especially with the way the Eagles are playing this year, you see how much I feel like they are missing Shane Steichen's play calling, and it feels like they have a bit of a downgrade on that side and a big plus side for Indianapolis. And for the Colts, this is their backup quarterback, Gardner Minshew, right? And you could feel why Minshew is a backup a lot of that game, where it's like, yeah, you get some of those Minshew mania plays, but you also get some of these plays where it's like, damn, like, we could definitely do better than Gardner Minshew out here, man. Missing a couple of throws, having a pass batted on a big third down and stuff like that. But Minshew definitely did his thing overall in the season. This game wasn't really reflective of what he's done for the season and in general for the Colts, man, offensively. Because this is an offense that puts up 20 points a game, at least, like every single game. But today, they weren't able to hit that benchmark, partially because they fumbled away the final drive, but hey, man, Colts defense played pretty solid. EJ Speed was really good. Both those linebackers, Franklin and Speed, are usually good, but especially EJ Speed was all over the field today. Buckner got a big sack in there at some point. They were stopping the ground game of Houston pretty well. Devin Singletary, they tried. Like, the Texans did not go away from the ground game. It just never materialized, which is what makes the performance by CJ Stroud ever so more impressive in my eyes, that he didn't have that help from his running back to ease the game for him. Like, there were so many difficult throws that Stroud had to make. You don't have your top guys. Like, Tank Dell's been out for a while. You don't got Robert Woods. Even Noah Brown's not in the game. And, I mean, Nico Collins definitely stepped up. Schultz had a couple of big plays on what ended up being the go-ahead drive. And, I mean, it was really Nico Collins. Like, he kind of just took over the damn game, man. Dude had like 200 receiving yards. It's pretty insane. That's got to be the highest of his career. But, hey, man, Stroud he was killer out there for sure. So now we're going to get Houston in the playoffs, and we'll see who they play. Obviously, they'll be the underdog. But, look, man, I'm excited to see CJ Stroud in the playoffs. Like, I would have been really heartbroken if the Colts were able to milk the clock all the way down, get the game-winning touchdown with, like, no time left, and we didn't get C.J. Stroud back, because that touchdown drive in the fourth quarter was so impressive. It would have really sucked if Stroud didn't have a chance to at least get an answer back, right? Because I don't care who wins the game. I just want to see a good football game. I would have loved to see the Colts win that game, man. I love what they're doing in Indianapolis, but I just feel like I would have been like, man, it would have been like the Super Bowl with the Eagles and Chiefs, where it's like, man, you really wish Jalen Hurts had one more chance to answer back, and he didn't get that. But, turned out Stroud and the boys didn't need to, because the Colts ended up getting turned away. And, like I said, man, I have a little sour taste in my mouth with the way that whole situation went down. I just feel like in that situation, you got to play – I feel like you got to focus more on the touchdown and the clock. And I think when you lose sight of making sure you get that go-ahead touchdown and you play the clock game a little bit too much, you end up in those kind of situations where you kind of fumble the bag. Because if the Colts didn't burn all that clock on themselves and they could have saved that timeout, you get the snap off with maybe a minute 30 left. Let's say you don't get the fourth down. Okay, you have all three of your timeouts. The Texans aren't going to burn off realistically more than 15 to 20 seconds on the drive if you force a 3 and out, and it's going to be a minute to go with no timeouts, needing a touchdown, but it's better than doing the whole lateral act with 1 second to go after a safety punt, right? So, yeah, that's just my whole viewpoint of it. I just feel like you got to give yourselves as many chances to win as possible, and you're betting your entire season on Tyler Goodson, right? Even if it's a play that's wide open, you're betting your entire season on Tyler Goodson, not even Jonathan Taylor, not even Zach Moss, Tyler Goodson. But the play worked. I can't emphasize enough. The play worked the way it was intended to. It's just whether it was Goodson or Minshew, they were just not on the same page. But, I mean, hey, man, that's what football is all about, man. Football is all about the X's and O's, and it's such a complex game, but it could come down to very simple things like that. It could come down to things like special teams, which, it was doing for both teams. Matt Gay missed that 57-yard field goal in the third quarter, and then, of course, Kaimi Fairbairn, after Stroud got the go-ahead touchdown drive in the fourth quarter, or Singletary scored that touchdown, then you had the missed PAT by Fairbairn, who, the whole broadcast are like, oh, yeah, Fairbairn's having a great season. He's only missed one kick, hasn't missed a PAT, and, the crazy announcer jinx just so happens to kick in, and he misses the biggest kick of the season on that PAT. And it really felt like that was going to bite them, but, the more the Colts were milking the clock and it felt like that was going to be the drive that decided the season, I had a sickening feeling. I was like, man, this feels like it's setting up for a heartbreak for Indianapolis. I don't know why. It just feels like it is. And, the Texans were able to get it done. Houston, I mean, shout out to them, man. They really changed the culture this year. Like I said in the last video with the Steelers, with CJ Stroud coming in with the Miko Ryans. I mean, CJ Stroud has been just incredible, man. And there's no losers in that offensive rookie of the year discussion, whether it's Stroud or Puka Nacua. I'm sure it's going to come down to. But, I mean, for Houston, you got your quarterback of the future, and that's all that really matters. After the whole Deshaun Watson fiasco a couple of seasons ago, it might have taken a year or two of losing, but Houston has really come out pretty good on that end. Obviously, I mean, the Browns aren't looking too bad themselves, but, that's kind of despite Deshaun Watson, if anything. Like, imagine the Browns if they had all that cap space instead of Watson. That would have been crazy. By the way, shout out to the CPU, Stroud. What is this throw, Stroud? What are you doing? It's a pick six. The one thing you can't do, and the game is tied. Oh, shaking my head. And, yeah, we have the CPU game in the background. Like I talked about in the last video, I don't know if it matters how much that I put the CPU game. I don't know if you guys would prefer if I played the CPU or if I played another person in a Colts Texans matchup. It's just a lot easier to set up, especially doing multiple of these, if I go against, or I just put the CPU game on sim and we just, like I said, chop it up about football, chop it up about the NFL over trying to, set up people and stuff like that. But let me know, man. I don't really care either way. I'll play people. It's just, like I said, it's easier to do this. So, but whatever is better at the end of the day is better for the brain at the end of the day, right? So, hey, man, let's talk about this for the rest of the video. Why not? CJ Stroud, can he leave that money drive? Can CJ Stroud do it in Madden as well as real life to give the Texans a playoff berth? Or are we going to overtime? Last video, the CPU took us to overtime, and we'll see if it comes down to kicking, what might happen, because the CPUs are missing a lot of kick in the rain. But we're in the dome here at Lucas Oil Stadium, so we'll see. CJ Stroud, big third down, and it looks like the Texans just burnt the timeout there with 36 seconds left, and hey, man, that's a good timeout. Get your best play out there. You got 2 downs, supposedly, to make it work. Maybe, I don't know if they go for it on 4th down. We don't have to worry about that because that's Noah Brown with the catch. Noah Brown didn't play, but he did play in Madden. I can't fix the depth charts the way they're supposed to be all the way. Maybe I'll try to fine-tune more of that for the playoffs if we continue doing these videos, including not having Damian Pierce out there. He snuck in a rush. It was mainly Devin Singletary all day today, and I think it was only Devin Singletary today. Besides, I guess Cameron Johnson on that safety punt at the end of the game, he went backward, and that counted as a run backward for a safety. But here we go. To win the game, you got Kaimi Fairbairn. Don't blow it like you did that PAT, Kaimi, and we can get out of here and feel good about it for Houston. So it's a 50-yarder. Let's see if we can line it up and knock it down. 3 seconds left. Fairbairn. Can't really tell with this, but it did go in. And the Texans are in. They're going to the playoffs in both Madden and real life. Let me know what you guys thought about all that stuff, man. Let me hear it in the comments section what you guys thought about the way the Colts did it, how the Texans play with Stroud, all that good stuff, how you think the Texans will do in the playoffs, the Colts season in general. We can talk all that stuff in the comment section. I'll try to get to you, as many of you guys as I can. Leave a like on this video if you guys enjoyed it, and I'll catch you guys next time. Thank you, as always, for watching.